You ever open a door you know you weren't supposed to? That's what sipping Penelope's Project X feels like. This is whiskey straight out of the lab, unfiltered, unapproved, and unleashed. Welcome back to Whiskey and Wisdom, the show where we sip bold and think bigger. I'm your host, Whiskey Dan, and today we're going deep into one of the most mysterious experimental projects in American whiskey today, Penelope's Project X. This is not their barrel strength. This is not the architect. This is not their mainstream finished whiskeys. This is the stuff Penelope wasn't even sure the public was ready for. And that's exactly why we're talking about it. What is Project X? Project X is Penelope's underground innovation lab. It's where they test barrels, blends, proof levels, and finishing styles that don't make sense in the main lineup. These are small experimental batches created without rules, without expectations, and usually without enough volume to ever go wide. This is where Penelope asks, what would happen if we stopped playing it safe? Why Project X exists. Penelope created Project X for one purpose: to push bourbon as far as it can go. The Project X program allows them to blend in unconventional ratios, use rare or expensive finishing barrels, experiment with warehouse aging zones, test multi-step finishing processes, create high-proof or extreme flavor prototypes. These bottles are the R&D department in glass form. Notable Project X releases. Let's talk about some of the most interesting releases to come out of Project X so far. Project X Toki Finish Prototype. Tokaji is a Hungarian dessert wine, and it brings a wild sweetness to bourbon. Notes of apricot, marmalade, toasted sugar, and long, warm spice. This release proved that Penelope wasn't afraid to go international with their finishing barrels. Project X Mizunara Oak Trial. Mizunara Oak is rare, expensive, and unpredictable. It gives notes of sandalwood, coconut, incense, and light fruit. This one tastes like Japan and Kentucky went half and half on a whiskey baby. Project X Early Amburana Experiments. Before Rio made Amburana famous, Penelope tested it right here in Project X. Cinnamon roll aromas, gingerbread sweetness, and a bold finish that punches way above its weight. Project X High-Proof Blend Experiments. Some batches hit the 120s and 130s in proof. These bottles are bourbon with the gloves off. Rich caramel, toasted oak, and a long, powerful finish. Project X Double Finish Experiments. Some of the first trials that later inspired Rio and Valencia. For example, honey barrel to Amburana, rosé to toasted oak, Tokaji to French oak. These bottles are rare, weird, and wonderful. How Project X tastes overall. If you want the general vibe of Project X, here it is. Project X tastes like bold creativity. It's higher proof. It's finish forward. It has big aroma, long finish, and layered complexity. These bottles taste like the early drafts of something great. Sometimes wild, sometimes polished, always interesting. Why whiskey nerds love Project X. Whiskey geeks love three things: rare releases, experimental barrels, and a good story. Project X checks all three boxes. It's highly collectible because batches are tiny. Every release is different. They're prototypes for future Penelope hits. They're transparent about blend and finish, and it feels like you're tasting Penelope's secret ideas. Project X is the closest most people will ever get to being inside the Penelope Blending Lab. How to drink Project X. Here's how to get the full experience. Step 1. Try it neat immediately. Step 2. Let the glass sit for 8 to 10 minutes. Step 3. Add a drop or two of water to open it up. Step 4. Try it again at the end of the night to see how it evolved. Project X changes dramatically as it sits. That's part of the magic. Closing thoughts. Project X is a reminder that innovation doesn't happen when you stay in the lines. Sometimes the most exciting whiskey isn't the polished bottle on the shelf, but the messy, bold experiment behind the scenes. That's where greatness begins. And that's where Penelope's Project X shines. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Project X, make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and tag us in your Project X pours. I'm Whiskey Dan. Pour boldly, sip wisely, and stay curious.